Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Reefs here. So it's Sunday night. We're going to do a water change in the tank. So I wanted to just document the process for you guys and just kind of show you my method of how I do my water changes. Pretty straightforward. Clean the glass, drain the water, and fill it back up. That's pretty much it. You know, in this particular water change, I'm going to go a little bit more in depth in cleaning the sump. The refugium is definitely overgrown. The Chaeto is overgrown. Caulerpa. So I'm gonna have to get in there and do a lot of pruning, getting everything cleaned and pulled back a little bit, just so you can be able to, you know, continue to grow. This is my only means of nutrient export. I don't run a protein skimmer, don't run any kind of reactors or anything like that, and this is it. This is my refugium. So I definitely have to stay on top of it. I do like to let it get a little bit nastier, you know, every now and then. Just, it's kind of a little satisfying. I don't know if that sounds weird or not, but it's satisfying to see everything overgrown and just, you know, looking nasty. It kind of just shows me that it's working, you know, and then I get in there and I'll pull everything back quite a bit. You'll see by the time we're done cleaning the refugium, you'll see how much of it I actually pull back. And it usually takes maybe about a month to 2 months before everything grows back into the way you see it here. So I did have to go in and install a Apex dose system. Like I said at the end of my last video with the aux swing, just with everything going on, I needed to get something to go ahead and just stabilize my parameters in between my water changes. So you can see the dosing tubes on the far right end over here in the back wall, and the other black tube that you see there hanging off on the right side is the auto top off line. So in the beginning, I had it kind of set up incorrectly, so the drips of the alkalinity and calcium were falling onto the auto top off line, and you can see all those white drips on the back wall. They weren't actually making it into the tank. So I've since moved it. You see that I've moved it forward, and now the actual drops are able to go into the tank. And you know, since then everything's been running pretty smooth, and all of my levels and parameters have kind of stabilized, and the tank has been doing pretty good. So I also went ahead and installed the hydrofill auto top off system. I'm running the pump and the controller. And that's running, you know, like butter. I love the system. And then also, like I said, there's the Neptune's dose system, also combined with the Neptune's DDR container. So now we're going to get into the actual water change. We're going to start with cleaning the sump. You know, we'll go from there. So thanks for watching this video, guys, and I'll see you back in here in a second. Alright guys, so we're halfway through. You can see I pulled out a lot of the Chaeto morpha. I think I pulled out more than 3/4 of the Chaeto, and also pulled out a lot of the smaller Caulerpa. Still have to organize some of the larger Caulerpa, but for the most part, you know, everything's opening up now. You can see I have some Kenya tree leather coral that you couldn't see before. I'll go in here on the top in a second, and you'll see where all that Kenya tree coral is kind of growing wild in there. And that's really for looks. You know, I kind of just like the way that looks, but I don't want it in my display. So, you know, I put it in my sump. So that's pretty much all I do. I'm going to go in here and scrape the front glass a little bit just so I can actually see in, you know, and then that'll be it for the sump. And then we'll be able to go up to the top and start cleaning the glass and getting the water changed out. Alright guys, so look at that sump, and look how beautiful everything looks. Everything's nice and clean, organized. I was even able to go up and organize the wires around the dose system and the dosing tubes. But the refugium looks great. The mangrove roots are, growing nicely. You can actually see them now. I was able to pull back a lot of the caulerpa, and everything's looking really, really good. So a lot of times I use this refugium as also kind of like my quarantine. Once I quarantine a fish in my quarantine system and, treat them with medication, and they're ready to go into the system, a lot of times the fish will go here in the refugium section first. It gives them the opportunity to graze on, algae and, copepods, amphipods, and also get used to me feeding them and just kind of get used to the environment of my reef keeping and what I do before they actually go up into the big tank with all the aggressive fish. So I also took the opportunity to clean off the hydrophil sensors. I was on a live stream the other day with Murphy's Aquatics, and one of his recommendations was to make sure that you clean those at least maybe once every other water change, or at least often enough that they don't get built up and they stop working. So I took the opportunity to clean those. So everything looks good, guys. We're gonna head up top to the display, get the glass clean, and get the water changed out. Alright guys, so that's about 10 gallons from the display tank, 2 5-gallon buckets. Usually I'll maybe take another 5 gallons from the refugium, just depending on how much water I have. I don't like to take too much out of the tank just because I don't want to expose all the corals. You can see I have that one coral right there that's sticking out of the water. So I try to just do the water change as fast as I can, just so everything's just not exposed too long. Like I said, from here on out, it's pretty simple. Because we're using natural seawater, we do have to test our salinity. I said that before. We have to test our salinity and just make sure it matches what we have in the tank. I usually try to keep my salinity somewhere around 1.026, maybe on the higher end of 1.027, just kind of depending on the fluctuations with the water that comes in. I don't know if it has to do with the weather or what, but sometimes, the water that comes in is usually really high. I've even seen it as high as like 1.028, 1.029 at times. So I like to make sure I just check the water, and that shows me how much I need to put in, and then maybe supplement with RO water just so I don't raise the salinity too much. So we'll go ahead and we'll check the salinity now, and we'll get the water back in the tank. Alright guys, so you can see the salinity is a little on the higher side. It's about 1.027, closer to 2.8. So what we'll do is we'll start putting water back into the tank slowly, stopping periodically just to test. And at some point we'll have to start putting in RO water just to make sure we keep the salinity levels down. So usually what I like to do is I like to siphon the water from the bucket into the filter sock, just so I can catch any debris or anything that may be coming out of the water. It is natural seawater, so who knows what's coming out of that water. So I like to siphon it into the filter sock, and then that's when I'll take out the filter sock and throw it into the wash. So we'll get this tank filled up, and then we'll be all set. So we finished filling up the tank, and it seems like something must have spawned or released some, eggs or babies. You can see the fish are going crazy. Just look at that chromies. He's going wild, just eating whatever it is in the water column. And I'm not sure what this is. This happens a lot. Usually happens right after I do a water change. Never seen it happen this fast though. Because I literally just finished filling the tank up with water and I started seeing all the particles floating in the water. So I don't know if it's a hermit crab or maybe one of the emerald crabs, or maybe the shrimp. I don't know what does it, but usually after I do a water change and I fill the tank back up, it usually takes about a few hours. I'll see something releasing or spawning in the tank. So it's pretty cool to see, but the fish, they get a little bit of food to eat. So it's pretty fascinating. So guys, thanks for watching this video. Thanks for those who stuck with me to the end. I know this was a longer video, but like I said, I did want to go ahead and just document everything that I do for a water change. So if you got any questions or any comments, any suggestions, please, don't hesitate, drop them in the comments below. I love interacting with you guys, with the reefing community. I love learning from everyone. So I appreciate your feedback. Until the next video, guys, thanks for watching this one, and you guys enjoy your reefs.